We often talk about how spaces and products are created, but what about how they come apart? How they can be reconfigured, reassembled, and reused to create something new? Is modular design the future of sustainability? And is how something is disassembled as important as how it's assembled? That's what we're here today to discuss in this mixed roundtable with Specialist Group.
The way we've changed how we use the office and how we use buildings is very much driven by hybrid working after coming back after COVID and sustainability. And those two things together, I think, is now kind of informing everything that we do. And it does go from modularity in the sense of how you set out spaces to make them more flexible, but also how you create a structure. Can you take it apart? How can you reuse it? What materials you use?
The speed at which technology is developing is a really important factor in this because, we interact with technology more and more on a daily basis, and we need to keep up. We need space to be able to keep up with how technology is developing. And if we build a space for technology today, it's likely not going to be, fit for purpose in 2 or 3 years' time.
With a lot of the buildings we're doing, we'll design the whole floor. That could be one occupier, but then we've also designed the ceilings and the services to allow for someone to come and completely subdivide it without wasting anything we've put in. And that's the first part of what I think is modular. And then you get into the next step, which is products that can be demountable. Community buildings, they've always been good at multi-functions, but actually the office place hadn't been, and we're able to take our skill set from cultural to offices. And what we're finding is that we're actually blending all our previous sectors, which were all isolated. We're finding that they're all overlapping, they're all wanting different parts of each other. And that's a really interesting place as a designer.
Obviously, sustainability is driven by reuse. An existing building isn't always that rational or lends itself necessarily to being really modular and repetitive. So that's a challenge, but I think that's an interesting challenge.
A lot of wastage in the industry is from people changing spaces. And it's a major problem in our industry, especially when you do, there's called Cat A and Cat B fit outs. And Cat A is where you have a space that's ready for someone to come and take. Cat B is when it's fully fitted for an end user, but actually now there's a big in between, which is a Cat A plus, Cat B minus, and we're doing a lot of that. So a lot of our design is not just modular in terms of the product, it's modular in dimensions. Nothing's worse than where we design a space and then a new tenant will come in and just strip it all out.
Unfortunately, a lot of everything to do with hybrid working and sustainability, those two key drivers, still haven't been fully legislative. It's actually still very much driven by clients. In the end, a lot of it comes down to money. Is something that is more flexible and demountable more expensive to make?
I think extending the shelf life of projects is really important in terms of both sustainability, but also economy. And I think that's really about making clients aware about, building something in a modular way today. It might be a little bit more expensive, but it's going to save you money in the future.